survive here. There was a restaurant called Cafe Sophie. At Cafe Sophie, the cooks were complaining about things flying at their heads. Not just things falling off the shelf, flying at their heads. There was a chef that in the middle of the night, Friday night, middle of service, he goes down to pick up his knife, and the knife spun around on the butcher block. He stepped away, took off his apron, threw it on the floor, quit, never returned. That night, the owner decides he's going to stay around, make sure everyone gets out okay. So he's doing some maintenance at the end of the night. He's up on a ladder changing a light bulb, and he looks down, and what he sees is a procession of people, all different ages, all different times, walk through the door, through his ladder, and through the other side of the building. He jumped down, took a vacation, right? And then he comes back a week later, and the restaurant survived 7 months. The next was Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice was a Chinese restaurant. They were around 9 months. They had a 7-year lease. Something so horrible happened to them that they, in the middle of dinner, it was a Thursday night, they kicked everyone out, they locked the door, they never returned. That whole weekend, you could see tables with food on it, drinks on it. Mercedes tried to contact them to find out what had happened because she knew that this place was considered haunted, and no one would even talk to her and tell them what happened. Now, Kel's Irish Bar is in the market. They are now own this whole building, so they're trying to build out here, and they've been having a hard time. For the past 3 years, they've been trying to open their doors. The first year, they lost their building permit, or their construction permit, because they were having complaints of construction going on at 4 or 5 in the morning. And the owner said, oh, no, it's just the ghost. Don't worry about it. Yeah, imagine what the city did, right? She lost a permit for a year. And then she's lost it 3 times since. They're hoping to open in spring. Who knows? We hope so, okay? So, you notice that I'm not up here on the step here. I don't get that close to the door. This is the creepiest location as far as I'm concerned. If you look at history, this building was here before the market was built, and it was Seattle's first service mortuary. You see how it says office here? You would walk in the front door, and you would order anything you needed for death. This says chapel. You would walk to the end, to the back, and there's a viewing chapel, a public viewing chapel space. This says private. You would go up the stairs, and there was a private chapel space for your family. So maybe that's why it's cursed. Who knows? Now, there were rumors going around that Linda Hazard and Butterworth, who owned the building or owned the mortuary, were in cahoots. That they had some sort of agreement, that Linda was bringing her girls here and he was disposing of them. So there is a belief that if all these starving women were coming to this location, that maybe that's why restaurants can't survive. Now, Dorothea was brought here and disposed of. And the family shows up, rescues Claire, and Dorothea wants to take her home. So they come to the mortuary. One of Butterworth's assistants goes down to the embalming room, grabs a woman, dresses her up, puts her on display, and the family says, no, that is not our Dorothea. So the authorities are called. Huge court case. Butterworth gets off, and Linda Hazard spends a whopping 2 years in prison for murdering who knows how many people. She ends up getting out. She builds her own crematorium, her own insane asylum in Alla Alla. There's a great book called Starvation Heights, and it's all about her shenanigans. She ends up dying, succumbing to her own treatment. She starves to death. In '99, Butterworth's family sold this building to Kells that I mentioned earlier. So when the Butterworths were going through this, making sure that no family photos, files were left behind, they were in the crematorium at the very bottom. When they came across a bookshelf, they're going through the books, the records, they're packing it all up in boxes, and a family member notices a door handle. So they move the bookcase, and there's a door there that no one knew about. So they break open, and they think, oh, they're going to find photos or something, but that's not what they find. They find shelves that are filled with urns. No names, just numbers. And I'm not talking about the urn your grandma and grandpa comes in. I'm talking about little tiny urns like this. Nobody has any idea where they came from, who they are. From 1918 to 1919, the Spanish flu epidemic hit Seattle. 5,000 Seattleites died. Imagine this. You're sitting and it's breakfast time and you have 4 children. One of them starts coughing. Then they become flushed and they get a fever. You have two choices to make. You can risk the entire family's safety, or you take your family member out of the house and take them to a quarantine area to die. Believe it or not, the market had a quarantine area. So many children, many family members were brought here. And it would only make sense that they would be brought here to the mortuary. Is that who they are? We have no idea. But history shows us that that is possible. In that same area that there was a quarantine area, there is today a daycare. And do you think any of those kids see ghosts? There's one ghost they see all the time that's reported over and over again, and it's a little boy with brown hair and no eyes. So again, this is where we get most activity. In 2007, we had to suspend this stop because people were passing out, people were getting sick, and Mercedes said, we're not stopping there anymore. Just recently, we have a picture on our website of a man's face in the top left window. So find me a ghost. Take some pictures.